In this video, I want to talk to you about the 4 components of digital currency, and I'm going to do a very simplistic version. So if you're one of these tech gurus and you want to criticize me, I'm trying to explain to the masses how digital currency works. And so this is a lesson that's going to kind of lay out the 4 components that are really necessary for a digital currency to take off. Okay, so what I want you to do on paper is I want you to draw just a plus sign like that and break it into 4 quadrants, your piece of paper, because we're going to break it up this way. Okay, now to get a digital currency to work, you got to have 4 major components. You got to have a mathematical algorithm. I'm going to talk about that. You got to have a community of people that are going to bring the currency into existence. And then you got to have an exchange, an area where people can hold their money and trade their money. And then ultimately, you got to have retailers, or what we call e-commerce. And I'm going to use an analogy of an eco-commerce system, an ecosystem, to kind of tie in the whole idea of just some visualization for you so you can understand it a little bit better. So as I mentioned, the first component we need to have is what's called an algorithm. Okay? Now, my math stopped at long addition, okay? So one of these, they have like letters and numbers in the equation, and when that happened, you lost me, okay? But an algorithm is a complicated mathematical equation. It's kind of like HTML as it relates to websites, okay? How many of you know how to how many of y'all know how to code HTML? Raise your hand. Okay, I don't, so I'm putting my hand down. So anyway, this aspect of the algorithm, let's just call it a mathematical equation that governs the cryptocurrency, okay? And it's the public ledger, it's what we call the blockchain, if you will, and it's built on a software. So there's some complicated terms here that are new to you, but no, I mean, it's no different than the internet was a new term to you, email was a new term to you, website was a new term to you, the information highway was a new term to you. The simple thing is these are just new terms that you have to learn, okay? You don't have to understand how they work, you probably just ought to generally understand. And I like to refer to the blockchain as the mobile service that powers your phone, okay? The currencies and the applications that run on the blockchain are like Bitcoin and OneCoin and Ethereum. They're the applications. So if you look at your phone, the service that powers your phone is the blockchain, okay? So it's synonymous with blockchain. The apps that are on top of your phone are like the currencies, okay? So I want to keep that real simple. So I'm not going to go into a great deal about the algorithm, but I do want to mention a couple of very, very important points about the blockchain, okay, and the algorithm. Number 1, you have to stipulate how many coins you're going to publish to your community, okay, so the number of coins. And this is something that cannot be changed. And if you're an investor type, what that means is it can't be diluted. So you can't have 21 million coins and then all of a sudden say, we're going to have 42 million coins and cut everybody's value in half. That's a big no-no in the digital currency industry, okay? However, you know, when you look at the different models going out, there are changes being made in the digital currency industry because they're realizing maybe 21 million wasn't enough, or 64 million wasn't enough, or 120 billion is enough. You know, we don't know. But we don't know how many coins the world is going to consume of digital currency. So definitely we see changes being made in that space. Also, it's going to determine the frequency, okay? And why is frequency important? Well, if all of a sudden I flood the market with coins, what's going to happen to the value of the coin? It's going to drop. Okay, when you increase the supply rapidly and there's not enough demand, the price is going to drop. Okay, so frequency, I'll give you an example. At one time, Bitcoin put out 10,000 coins every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, 10,000 coins was released to the market. Not a million coins, 10,000 coins, and it stayed that way. And they also weaned it off. So they just went through a halving where it's now 5,000 coins per 10 minutes. So the frequency is very important because if your community is growing faster than your frequency, what's happening to the price of your coin? It's skyrocketing. Okay, when there's more demand for the supply, you're going to have the price escalate in value. All right, so frequency is important. There's one other thing that's important with this, and it's what we kind of call the competition ratios. How much competition helps determine the amount of coins. And I want you to envision 500 people running for a door, okay? That's going to create a certain visual in your mind of there's one door, there's 500 people, there's 500x competition for that door, okay? Now, what if there's 5,000 people competing for that door, okay? It's really going to decrease the velocity of people going through the door. The competition to get through that door will be more valuable to you, won't it? Especially if you're trying to get out of a burning building. The competition of a coin as it's coming out, the more miners you have mining the coin, the more intensity there is, the more value there is. So the value increases as competition increases for that 10,000 block of coins. Well, all of a sudden the price of the coins escalate. So let's say you have 500 people competing for a block of 10,000 coins. The price is going to be X. If you have 5,000 people competing for that same block of coins every 10 minutes, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to escalate. Some companies call it a mining ratio. Some people call it a competition ratio. So there's definitely, in the beginning, in an algorithm, the competition is going to help determine the price of the coin. Okay? So that is the algorithm. This is the complicated stuff. Again, you don't have to know this stuff to be able to use digital currency. But if you're a technical type and you're wondering, why should I risk money in digital currency? Why should I place my trust in it? Well, number one, it's transparent because it's published on the blockchain, so there's no financial shenanigans, okay? There's a set number of coins, so there's no dilution. That's very important. So we've got transparency, we've got no dilution, we've got what we call finiteness, okay? The number of coins is finite. They're not going to increase that amount. Now I want to give you a good analogy on that before I finish on this. The frequency is important because, let's say you're an investor in a tech company and all of a sudden they just start dumping stock on the market. Your stock's skyrocketing. It's gone from 10 cents to $50, and then all of a sudden the founders start dumping all of their stock on the market. What happens to the price of your stock? Well, it's going to tank. So a fixed frequency on the amount of coins that are available, the amount of supply that's available to the market is very, very important. And then of course the competition ratio being preset initially to where the coins gain value based on the number of people that want them. Competition is very, very important. So I want to give you a real good analogy before I get off this topic. We all know that Florida's got lots of beachfront real estate, but it only has so much beachfront real estate, okay? Every beachfront real estate lot has a deed number or a plot number, okay? And that number is where the value is. It's a serial number, okay? So when you produce your coins, you're going to produce X amount of serial numbers, just like they have in Florida with beachfront real estate. They have X number of deed numbers or plot numbers, okay? And those plot numbers, as the community grows around it, what happens to the value of those plot numbers? Well, Florida real estate has skyrocketed. I remember at Ponce Inlet when you could buy a lot for 50 or 100 grand, and now you can't touch one for less than $500,000, okay? So the algorithm, this is all very important, all very technical, but not too difficult to understand the benefits of it. The blockchain creates transparency, no financial shenanigans. The number of coins creates a finite supply, okay? So as your community grows, so does the value of your coins. Then the frequency makes sure that the market doesn't get flooded with coins and lowers your price. It prevents, the mass dilution. And then of course, competition helps determine the price of the coin in the early stages. It kind of tells people, hey, the price is going up because our community is growing like wildfire, okay? So that is component number one of a digital currency. That is the hardest one to understand, and we're past it, okay? We know what the benefits are, okay? Number two, we need a community. We gotta have people that want to use the currency, right? So right here, we're talking about, we're gonna develop the Mississippi River, okay? And the Mississippi River is gonna be so long, and it's gonna have so many tributaries, and it's gonna have so many cubic meters of water, okay? So we've determined our ecosystem, okay? Right here. Now we need to say, okay, let's determine our river, okay? Let's fill the river up. How are we gonna build this river, okay? Well, this is the hardest part right here, by the way, okay? Anybody with technical knowledge, one person can create all this. this is very difficult to do because you have to get people to buy into it. Okay, well, we've seen what Bitcoin did early on. It has a lot of early adopters, people that are market mavens, people that are excited about it, the anarchists. It's a volunteer army of people that are building this. And Michael Novogratz says it's 30,000 of some of the most intelligent programmers in the world that are building this blockchain and building the Bitcoin community. Well, along comes OneCoin with a network marketing model. Okay, OneCoin says we're going to pay people to sell education, and when they sell education, we're going to bonus them some tokens so they can learn how to mine. Okay, well, all of a sudden you've got a 2 million person economy versus say a 250,000 person economy with Bitcoin. There's no real number on it, but that's the number of people, that's the estimate of how many people use it on a daily basis. Okay. Now, the community is very, very important. The community is what we call the river, okay? Who can create a river? Can Amazon create a river for a digital currency? Yes. Can PayPal create a river? Yes. They have 180 million customers, okay? Can Citibank create a river? Yes. You know, can Walmart create a river? Yes, okay? So organizations that have massive databases, they can create a community that will create demand. Okay, so I think it's important as you go through this business, you understand that in the future, digital currencies are going to be launched by big corporations. Okay, and you are going to have the knowledge of how to mine those coins, how to get those coins at a discount. And I cover mining in another training video that you should watch. Okay, because it is singly probably the most important golden nugget of digital currency that I can teach you is how to get currency at a discount. Raise your hand if you'd like to get currency at a discount. Who wouldn't? Okay, that's a no-brainer. So the community is important, okay? The community is a group of people, in the beginning, they're called miners, okay? And, you know, as they go on, they become, you know, customers that spend the currency, you know? Eventually they migrate down here to retailers, you know, that become part of the community as well. And so the community is very, very important. These are people that tell everybody about digital currency. They are the ones that bring the digital currency into existence. They are the ones that spend the digital currency. They are the ones that accept it as a merchant and allow you to use it for products and services. So this is very, very important. And one thing that OneCoin has done right is they've created a structure of you know, we talk about word of mouth advertising is the most effective form of advertising. Well, you know, if you're making $12,000 a month part-time marketing digital currency, or you've created $100,000 in net worth or $1 million in net worth by putting, hey, here's a great example. Guy puts $5,000 into Ethereum and it becomes worth $5 million in 9 months. Are you going to get excited and go tell people about that? Well, if you are, companies like OneCoin will actually pay you for telling other people. Kind of like Amazon, they have a referral program. DirecTV has a referral program. So if you are out there, this community, there's two ways you can do it. You can be a big corporation and have an established base of customers like Amazon, okay? Or you can be like Bitcoin and just be a first mover and it kind of goes viral. That's one way of doing it, where everybody just starts adopting it. Or you could be like OneCoin and you could say, hey, we're going to set up a network marketing program where we will pay people to go educate other people. And I will contend that the one thing that our industry needs now more than ever is education. So I think OneCoin has probably the best model, because if you go to the average Bitcoin technical meeting, I got to tell you, it's a 32-year-old white male computer programmer, okay? And you can't understand their language. They're not technically in it for the money. You know, it's a totally different mentality. Whereas you meet people, the average everyday person, what do they want to create in their life? They want more wealth, they want more freedom, they want more time. So I think that OneCoin's model has done a better job building a community. By a long shot, they're growing larger than Bitcoin every 90 days. That's pretty phenomenal growth, okay? And they're continuing to grow even faster, exponentially, okay? So community is very, very important. By the way, this is the hardest part, okay? That's the hardest part to create. If you don't have the ability to create a community of users, of miners, of merchants, you are not going to have a cryptocurrency that's successful or widely adopted. Okay? The third component that you need is what I call the exchange and the e-wallet. Okay? Let's call the community a social networking community of miners. We've got our algorithm now, and now we have our exchange, okay, and our e-wallet. Why do we need an e-wallet? Well, we got to have a place to hold our serial numbers or our coins. So this is very, very important when you think about it, because it gives you the ability to do what? Buy and sell your coins. So if you need to buy some because you need to go spend them, or you want to buy some to hold them for appreciation, you need an exchange like a stock exchange where you can go do that. Companies like Bitcoin, you can go to many, many different exchanges. Coinbase, Kraken, local Bitcoins. There's many places that buy and sell Bitcoin. With, say, OneCoin, they have a centralized model where it's kind of like PayPal, where everything's built into the back office. It's very simple. Most people don't like opening up multiple accounts to perform, one function of finance. OneCoin has simplified it. If you can envision PayPal, but with a cryptocurrency, that's basically what OneCoin's created. Okay, so you got to have this. Now, from our analogy, here's our ecosystem. This is our design. We played God for a minute. We created an ecosystem. Then we said, oh, we need a river, okay? So we created the river, and we said, okay, network marketing is the best way to create the river, or be a big corporation like Amazon. Now we need a dam, okay? Because if y'all know, the Mississippi River runs north and south in the United States. It divides the east and the west. The Mississippi River, unchecked, without dams and dikes and things like that, is a very dangerous river, okay? And it's kind of like Bitcoin. It's been very dangerous for people. The price has gone way up, it's gone way down. There's been companies that have gone out of business and taken people's money. There's been fraud in it. So when you think about having a regulated exchange where there's KYC, know your customer rules, so no terrorist financing. That's important, because if you have terrorist financing, the feds are going to show up, okay? And then you also want to make sure nobody is laundering money, because if you do that, the feds are going to show up, okay? And we don't want that. So know your customer, and anti-money laundering is important. If you don't want Crown Victorias parked around your house going whoop, 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 you want to make sure you have these things taken care of. Big problem with Bitcoin is a lot of organizations that use Bitcoin do not do this, okay? So this is kind of where some of the bad news comes from, like the Paris bombings, or was it, I don't know, it was Belgium or Brussels, where they had the bombings, but they said it was financed by Bitcoin. That's bad, okay? With companies like OneCoin, that won't happen, all right? So the exchange is very important. An exchange, early on, maybe you could put trade restrictions in where people could only buy and sell a certain amount every day, which would prevent price fluctuation. Do you want to know what scares people away from digital currency? Number one, cryptocurrency, the name scares people away, first and foremost. Cryptic, Then, of course, you have the volatility. It scares people away. People don't like volatility. They like things to be comfortable, okay? Richard Branson likes it. He says, oh, you can make money in volatility. The average person, it scares away. The high price of Bitcoin scares people away, okay? The bad news scares people away, okay? And if you don't have KYC and AML in place, anti-money laundering laws, you're going to have bad news, okay? You don't want your cryptocurrency financing terrorism. That's bad, okay? So exchange, e-wallet, this is the dam, okay? This is the dikes. When you think about it, you gotta regulate your river, okay? Some people say, well, we don't like regulation. We don't like this. I get that, okay? But if you are that way, you will fall into the anarchist community, and you will never be big. You will never have the masses. You will never be the AOLs. You will never be the PayPals. You will never be the Amazons, okay? You will never be widespread. You will never help the other 3 billion people around the world that need to get into the banking system, okay? So very, very important to have all this in place, okay? And then the fourth component is what we call usability. Usability is important, okay? Okay? You can have all this stuff in place, but if you can't spend it, what good is it to you? I mean, I understand you could have this in place, the currency goes up in value, you sell it, then you take your government issued currency and go buy the stuff with your gains. I get that, okay? But what if you could upload your business to a mobile app or a website and be able to accept digital currency? What if you could go to BitPay or GoCoin or something like that, and you could just sign up your business, kind of like United Way. Go to unitedway.org and you'll see that United Way accepts digital currency on their website. They accept Bitcoin for donations. And you thought it was a scam, right? It's not, okay? So usability is important, all right? It's really nice to have. So when you think about, you know, Bitcoin is $698 a coin. It's not widespread. Why would a business want to take it, okay? If maybe one customer out of their entire neighborhood uses Bitcoin. Okay, they want to be a part of something that's widespread, where there's lots of people using the digital currency. Okay, so usability is important. All right, and when I think about, you know, usability in our whole dynamic here of the ecosystem, I mean, this is our tributaries. Okay, these are the streams right here. Do y'all know that a river without tributaries or streams is an unhealthy river? Because as it floods out, the streams actually help filter it out. So God designed tributaries for a reason, okay? And it also feeds the river. Streams feed the river. What happens when a customer comes in and sees a business that the customer doesn't use OneCoin or Bitcoin, and the business goes, do you take OneCoin? Or the customer says, what's OneCoin? Well, all of a sudden they feed a new person into the river. So businesses that sign up, like with OneCoin in less than 24 months has the usability situation already figured out. Bitcoin is very far from usability for the average individual to be able to use, for the average business to be able to take. OneCoin, people can just sign up on a mobile app, put their business online and say, hey, to the rest of the 2 million person community, I accept OneCoin for products and services. They have a built-in social network right here. Wouldn't it be nice to like start a new business and plug your business into an existing social network that has a currency that you accept? That's very cool. So these are the 4 components of a digital currency. By the way, they have to be done in this order, okay? You have to set up the algorithm first. You got to mine the coins, okay? We'll cover that in another training. Then you got to put an exchange in place where people can buy and sell the coin and hold their coins in their wallet. And you got to have KYC in place and AML in place if you want to be a long-term player in this space, okay? Otherwise, feds are going to show up, okay? And then the last component, once you have all this in place, then the businesses go, oh wow, you got 3 million people or 2 million people or 10 million people, and all I have to do is sign up my business and I can accept OneCoin, and if I want to, I can use it to buy stuff for my business, or I can sell it on the exchange and put the cash in my wallet, and you got all this in place. Well, folks, there's only one company that has this already in order, and it's a company called OneCoin. And I think it's important for you to understand that Bitcoin may get it eventually, but they've got, history. Being a first mover is not an advantage in technology, okay? Being a first mover is really bad. In fact, if you do your research, you'll find out the companies that became the biggest technology companies were all second movers, okay? So guess what OneCoin is? It's a second mover. So this part is very, very, very important right here. To me, everybody addresses the Ponzi scheme issue, but until you really get this piece in place, you've got a situation where people are just really investing, okay? And they're really just trying to create wealth. But when you can actually start using it, that is the 4th and most important part of the equation. And I'm excited to say that when I was at London in June for the conference with OneCoin, I witnessed this whole aspect of it in the app that they're coming out with, and it's going to be very cool. And this gives you the ability to have all 4 pieces of the ecosystem in place for digital currency. So this is Tom McMurrain with New Currency University. If you want more information on my systems and my training, simply text the keyword NCU, that's Nancy Charlie University, New Currency University, NCU, be all caps, just make sure it doesn't auto-correct it. Do it all caps, NCU, and text it to 435-222, and I'm going to put it right up here, 435222 coin. Okay? 435222 coin. Okay? And that is 2646. So do the keyword NCU, Nancy, Charlie, University. What is U in?
It is.
It's university? In the military.
Tango. I forget. I forget.
University! I got it. Man, I made up my own military term. I'm gonna have to learn that one. But hey guys, enjoy the training with you. Hope this makes sense to you. Show this to your friends when they understand what digital currency is, why the algorithm is so important, why the community is so important, why you want to be a miner. You want to make sure you watch my video on why you should be a miner, why the exchange is important, why companies that don't have KYC and AML will probably have the Fed show up. You want to be careful of those companies. And then ultimately the usability aspect. I know this is a simplistic version of it, but when you think about how the United States economy was built, it wasn't much different than this. Okay, so if this is a scam, maybe the U.S. economy is a scam. Okay, so when we look at that, folks, that's the nature of the 4 components of digital currency. I hope you enjoyed this training.